Welcome to HackerRank challenge number 13 in Python. This one's called Tuples, and it's a pretty quick one, but there are a few places where I think it's maybe easy to get lost, so we'll go through this slowly. So here we're given a list of numbers, and then we're meant to convert those into a tuple, and then calculate the hash of this tuple. Now, hash is a built-in function in Python that takes any sort of object and will return a number, and that number is the hash. This whole hashing is a concept used in cryptography and cybersecurity. It's often used to check whether a file that is being sent is the same file as it's being received. It's not super important for this exercise, but if you're interested, you can look up hashing and the SHA algorithm. And it's actually quite interesting and important for computer science. But like I said, as far as this exercise is concerned, we can really treat this hash function just like any other function. And we just want to print out the result after we feed in our tuple. Okay, so before we get started, let's have a look what we're provided with up here. The inputs come in multiple lines, so we're going to have to read it twice again. So the first input is just how many integers we should expect, and then the second one is a string that has our integers separated with spaces. So they've already created a line of code here that reads that for us, but I think it's good to understand what's happening here. So it takes our input, the second input, which is this string, and it splits it wherever there's a space. So it takes our string 1 space 2, converts it into a list with the elements 1 and 2, and then it uses the map function to typecast integer to each element of that list. So it converts the 1 and 2 from strings to integers. And now what will be saved into this variable is actually a map object. So if we try to print this, it will not seem to make a whole lot of sense. So let's see, that's integer list, run code. So you might expect to get a list with these numbers, but instead you're getting this map object. And in order to make this map object sort of readable, or something that we can work with, we can either typecast it into a list or a tuple. And since we're meant to be working with a tuple, we may as well do that. So we'll typecast this into tuple and print it again. And now this should make a lot more sense. Yeah, and now you can see we've got our tuple with the two integers, 1 and 2. Okay, so let's go and assign this to a variable. So let's call that t for our tuple. And then all we really need to do is hash it. So our result will be the hash function of our tuple t. And then we just need to print out that result. Let's have a look. Yep, that looks great. Let's submit the code. Perfect. We're all done. So just like I said, very straightforward, but always good to understand what all these things mean, what the hash function is, how this line works, and also feel free to look up tuples again if you forgot or if you haven't come across those. But yeah, for now, I'll move on to the next one.